how many times do you end up great position, right near to the green, and then you dunge the chip. You dunge the chip. It feels like you've got the yips. It feels like you can't keep control of the golf club because we feel it's a really easy shot compared to the ones we've just hit. We feel like we can't keep control of that golf club. We can't get the club to the golf ball. We can't get it to the golf ball quick enough to make sure we hit that ball close to the hole. We feel quite nervous. But do the yips originate in the mind, or does it originate in the technique? Well, here's the answer. It very much originates in the technique, which massively affects the mindset. So if we haven't got the right technique, we're going to struggle to get the club to the ball, no matter how confident we are. If we're the most confident golfer in the world, but we've got a technique like this, we're not going to hit that golf ball very well. We're not going to chip that ball very, very close. So a lot of the reason why we dunge it or even thin it, this is accounting for all types of golf or all types of chippers out there. If we don't quite get that club down to the ground where it should be, we're going to struggle. And that's what's going to set the yips up. That's what's going to lack us confidence, what the textbooks term the yips. I suppose in some ways they are. We're sort of nervous to try and get that club to the golf ball. But what we need to try and do, and the reason it happens, is because our body just completely stops turning. Our body stops turning. Even for a short shot like this, the body still has to point towards the target at the end. The problem is if our body just completely stops, we end up dumping that club far too soon and we get a big chunk of earth, especially in this horrible wintry turf as well. We get a big chunk of earth between ball and club, and that's when the ball just plops out in front of us by a couple of yards, if that. So we need to make sure to allow that to happen, to not allow that to happen, I should say, is making sure we've got all that weight on our left foot to begin with and feel that we are turning through towards the finish. And that will help control where that golf club meets that ground, what we call the low point of the golf club, which allows us to get that ball up in the air with the minimal of fuss, using the bounce, using the loft on that golf club, the bounce sliding and gliding underneath the golf ball, the loft getting that ball up in the air. Because when we feel like we're trying to help the ball up in the air because we're used to hitting the ground, or when we're trying to scoop it, or whether we're trying to hit down, whatever it is we're trying to do to get that ball up in the air, it just completely negates it. So we need to make sure we are turning through towards a finish to allow for that club to meet the ground where it needs to. It's all in the technique. It's nothing to do with the mindset. Forget about those yips. Think about the technique. Allow yourself to turn through with that weight on the left side as opposed to trying to scoop the ball up in the air.